Dutch oven history and care. In the 17th century, an Englishman named Abraham Darby was in the Netherlands researching the Dutch methods for casting brass pots. Surprised by his new expensive casting method, he brought home this practice and applied it to casting iron. Darby started his own mill in Bristol, England, and began casting this far more affordable iron cookware. It soon became popular, and the Dutch method he used to cast it seemed to work. Thus, the invention of the name the Dutch oven. Seeking freedom of religion and the right to participate in new cast iron culinary practices, waves of immigrants began colonizing the eastern seaboard of North America. The Dutch oven was the perfect cooking tool to use in these primitive early years of settlement. American colonists not only adopted, but soon adapted the design of the Dutch oven to suit the needs of their impoverished, hardy lifestyle. In the 18th and 19th century, the Dutch oven that came from England quickly became an American standard kitchen tool. A metal lip was later developed around the edge of the lid to hold coals and provide heat for both the bottom and the top. It is well known that famous men and women used these tools in their bravest adventures. Lewis and Clark, Paul Revere, and here's some food for thought. Even the Donner Party used it to cook some of their famous meals. Oh, sorry, that joke was a little bit tasteless. It is also well known that travelers on the Oregon Trail, brave men of the gold rush of '49, and the immense westward migration of Mormon pioneers all carried with them the iconic hardy Dutch oven to prepare their meals during their arduous journey west. Dutch ovens were used historically, but they are also an iconic symbol for the Western spirit in our modern day. It has been named the state cooking implement of Utah, Texas, and Arkansas. Yeah, that's right. Some states have named their symbolic cooking implements. Google that in your spare time. Not only are cast iron Dutch ovens well known for their rich history and resilient rigidity, they are probably most notorious for their difficulty to maintain. They're not easy to work with and can be damaged by your everyday cleaning methods. It is said that if you want to hurt a cowboy or offend his hardy pioneer ancestors, try cleaning his Dutch oven using Dawn dish soap and water. I don't actually recommend you try this. Cowboys tend to be violent when necessary. To put it in the immortal words of my father, it don't matter what your Dutch oven looks like on the outside, it's what on the inside that counts. Now that phrase sounds like it's symbolic or sentimental, but it's not. He really meant it doesn't need to look pretty. It won't be hooking up on a date anytime soon. So let's move on to the proper care of your cast iron. There isn't one single right way to do this. There are many different methods to care for your Dutch oven. There are really only 3 simple rules. Remove debris, no moisture, and maintain an oiled surface. Most cast iron purchased these days comes pre-seasoned with a factory patina. This protective surface will only last through so many uses before it wears away. That is why it is important to learn how to clean and season the cast iron for yourself. Dutch ovens have one very simple weakness. Just like kryptonite is to aliens, and circus folk are to orphans, the same idea applies to water and cast iron. It's funny because her name's Aquafina. Even rusted and abused cast iron should not be disposed of. You could have pulled that cookware out of the septic tank of Mordor. That doesn't matter. You don't throw this stuff away. You could have pulled it out of mud at 9 a.m. in the morning and still be cooking eggs in it for dinner that same day. To recover cast iron, you can use a variety of methods, all of which ironically include the use of water. To begin, you'll need to use something abrasive to remove rust without grinding into the iron. Some use steel wool and some water, some use salt and water, and some prefer a powered metal brush method. When you are just cleaning a used Dutch oven and wish to just clean it up from the daily use, you can use some simpler methods to remove food debris. I find kosher salt to be an abrasive and food-safe solution. Some use chainmail, a brush, or plastic scraper. One big challenge is that cast iron is very porous. After rust or food is removed, heat should be applied to cook out any moisture left inside the tiny pores of the metal. This can be done on a barbecue, in an oven, or on an open flame. Remember, the outside doesn't need to look good, but it wouldn't hurt it. When the heat has dried out the cast iron, you will want to apply some sort of thin coat of oil. This will season the iron for its next use and protect it from any moisture that may come in contact with it. It is suggested that a napkin or paper towel is stored within the Dutch oven to absorb any moisture that may find its way through the lid. Just like the history of America, Dutch ovens are cheap, tough, sturdy, and difficult to maintain, but they are worth all the time and effort that has gone into them. With all of this important history, one has to ask themselves this question: if there were no Dutch oven, would there even be an America?